This is one of the most important transitions in life, the transition from high school into college, and it's a very, very important decision for you. Today we're going to give you a little bit of background about the Barney School of Business. Certainly hope that you are coming to the Barney School of Business. We'd love to have you here. But we'll also weave a few coaching points. We're thinking of schools in general. The first is when you schools, and some of you may be well into the process, or some of you may be early on looking at the process. With a lot of my friends, they'll ask me, I'm interested in business schools. What should I consider? And what you need to know is at this time there are over 12,000 business schools around the world. But of those schools, there are, at this point in time, only 596 in 37 countries around the world that are internationally accredited to the highest standards possible. When you're looking at schools, it's easy to pick those schools out because they all have a little designation called AACSB International. That's the Association for the Advancement of Collegiate Schools of Business. So those are all really considered to be the best business schools in the world. We're held to 22 high standards, and if you come to any of these schools, I think you'll have a wonderful experience. Again, I hope that you'll come to the Barney School, but because of the constant review and focus on continuous improvement, I can almost guarantee you'll have a wonderful experience at any of these schools. That said, for some of the other schools which are looking at accreditation or are not accredited, I tell my good friends, I'll tell you as well, that I hope to have a wonderful 4-year experience for you. And if you go to accredited school, I think that would happen. If not, there might be a possibility, not necessarily, but a possibility that sometime in the 4 years you would discover why that school was not accredited. And I would not want that experience to happen to my friends, and don't want to have it to happen to anybody here either. So with that by way of introduction, in terms of our school, we are really very much, you'll see, career focused on education. And to these AACSB schools, it really is, to me, it's the ultimate consumer's dream. And you would say, I want a product or a service. Of all the people who make this product or service around the world, I want to know who the best are. And then of that group, I would like to see them be very different and unique so that I can then, from the best, choose the one that really fits me the most well. And that's what happens with AACSB schools, because all AACSB schools are mission-driven. And if you like the mission, you'll really like the school, because everything that goes on in this school is going to be reflected as we articulate and align things to that mission. In our case, our mission is to develop leaders and decision makers who are globally aware and socially responsible. And you'll see that throughout our programming, and again, today is a good example of that. We've got a lot of international initiatives, and the reason is very simple. In terms of thinking about business today, when I went to school, there were a lot of local businesses and regional businesses. But today, I would say that if you do not understand what is happening in Hong Kong right now, will be impacting the Hartford market in 5 minutes, tops, then you do not understand business today. Because business is global, it's highly interconnected, and it's moving at lightning speed. And so to be prepared for the future that you're going to be facing, you need to be really aware of how global markets work, and global education works, and global business operates. Our second part, which is also very important for us, is the whole issue of social responsibility. We take this very, very seriously, because many of the Barney graduates go on to do wonderful things, and they do very good things. And I always like to ask this question, just a diagnostic question: how many folks here are money motivated? Okay, that's good. Okay. By the way, this is a business school presentation, not a College of Arts and Sciences presentation. So it is okay to be money motivated, and many folks in the business school are. And there's nothing wrong with making a lot of money, and many of our graduates do in fact do that. But along the way, and part of the reason why people do so well is they have great gifts, but with great gifts come great responsibilities. And it starts here, and it'll be with you throughout your entire time at your Barney School, that we always try to emphasize that with great gifts come great responsibilities. And so we ask people, when good things happen to you, to remember to say thank you to all the people that made that possible. And it starts by saying thank you to your families and friends, your mom, your dad, your neighbors, all those people who helped you to be successful, to get where you are. Say thank you to them. Say thank you to folks in your community through community service, and say thank you to your school, so that you can help other generations to move forward as well. And you'll see a lot about how we emphasize social responsibility throughout all of our programs. Now, in terms of just living our mission, a couple things that are important. We talked about global awareness, and in the upper panel you can actually see the Malley Global Center. Malley Global Center is sort of the most recent centerpiece for all of our global broadcast initiatives. What we have actually done is move forward. Almost the entire University of Hartford campus is hardwired for global presentations, so we can partner with people around the world, and we do many things. In the Malley Global Center, we have a few key events that we'll have, like our international business competition is always hosted out of there. We have international debates, which are hosted out of there. We have our student managed investment course, which brings in analysts from around the world, comes out of there, and it's very powerful. And we can connect from Malley Global Center to Wild Auditorium, where you are today, to Malley One Auditorium. And it really has been designed for really high-end collaborative research and collaborative learning. And so in this facility, you can not only connect to 6 remote locations around the world, you can also share live databases, and you can actually do live text editing. So it is really the ultimate statement in terms of being able to work in a global environment. Down below, you'll see, again, a very important thing under social responsibility. We do lots of things, but one of our marquee events is certainly around the Upper Albany Main Street effort. This has been going on for about 8 or 9 years. Each year it's bigger. And what it is an effort driven pretty much by the Barney School of Business, but our friends in engineering and art also join us. At any time, there's probably about 50 Barney students down in Upper Albany. Now, if you leave the university campus, if you're familiar with it, and go to the end of Bloomfield, take a left to Albany, you'll go to an area of kind of budding entrepreneurs. And our students are down there helping these new entrepreneurs with marketing plans and with accounting plans and beautification projects. And that's what you're seeing right there, is a group of our students are down there actually helping to improve that neighborhood. Now, what is wonderful about this is that many of these individuals in this neighborhood, and I say budding entrepreneurs, they may come from kind of a background which is different than yours, and in terms of social economic opportunities which they've experienced. But what is very, very powerful about this experience is the people who work there invariably come away at the end of the day and they've learned one powerful lesson. Although people come from very, very different places in life, at the end of the day, we're all just people. And if you respect people and you listen to people, wonderful things can happen. And this is a big part of what goes on in the Upper Albany Main Street. And you'll hear more about some of our social responsibility efforts. Now, in terms of thinking about the Barney School, and as you're looking at different schools, I've been here on the faculty for about 28 years, and I'm moving into my 7th year in the Dean's office, and it's been a wonderful journey for me. And the school has evolved and grown. It keeps getting better. We are very proud of our accomplishments. We're never arrogant. We're continually trying to improve everything. We look at everything and move forward. If I could use a metaphor from the sports world, the tennis world, if anyone's ever played tennis, there's something in the tennis racket called the sweet spot. And that's where you really want to hit it. And that's the best place. And what I would say is over these 28 years, I've seen the Barney School of Business and the University of Hartford, with our 7 colleges here, move to the sweet spot. And what I mean by that is that we are small enough to give people individualized attention, and that's really important, but we're big enough to give a wide variety of opportunities for people who may want to major or minor in other areas. And this is very important for us. As we continue to grow, maybe one day that might change, but right now it is a wonderful place that I can highly recommend to everybody. Now, if you look at the numbers, you get a little sense of how the school's operating. For undergraduates, we've got 643 undergraduates at the school right now. Now, what our goal is each year is to recruit the 150 most interesting individuals from around the world, because we believe, and from experience has shown us, there's as much education goes on outside the classroom as inside the classroom. And this is our goal. So if you run the numbers, you say, wait a minute, if you're going to be recruiting 150 people, there should be 600 students, not 643. How does that happen? And part of that is also a tribute, I think, to the school, because what happens is each year, and it's happened more in recent years, when I went to school, most people would go to a school and stay there for 4 years. But what has happened is many people will go to school for a year, they transfer after their freshman year, sophomore year. They've discovered some new things that they want to take a look at. They found maybe a little better school for themselves. And so some of our students transfer out from our school, but you can see we are a net positive transfer school. Many, many more students from schools all around the region and around the country students will be coming into our school as they learn a little bit more about what we have to offer. So I kind of view that as an informed consumer making really good choices. So we have about 643 students at any time. What's also important is our faculty teaches not only undergraduates but graduate students. And so for our graduate programs, we have a very strong MBA program, and we have a very strong Master of Science Accounting Taxation program as well. So we have a little over 500 students there, and again, our faculty are all teaching both in the undergraduate program and the graduate program. And what you'll also see, which is good for undergraduates, because you know that people are really on the cutting edge. Not only can you hold forth with undergraduates, but you can hold your own with graduate students as well. And our faculty tends to be folks who have worked prior to coming into the academic life, maybe 5 or 10 years, some folks more than that, some a little bit less than that. So you've got a really seasoned faculty that has actually done the sort of things that they're teaching, and they're delighted to be here with our students. So what happens is we want to having small classes, and that's important. Probably the biggest class that you'll see is probably the fall freshman only, bar 110 class, and that is intentional because we want to not only give you a feeling for the excitement of business in that course, but given that the first 2 years, business students take most of their courses in arts and sciences to kind of give them a liberal education. They don't get a lot of classes together, so it's a way for all the Barney students to kind of come together. After that first class, then probably the largest class that you'll get is probably about 25 to 35 students. And so they're small classes with lots of individualized attention, which people speak of very highly. And I would put that in contrast, again, my own personal story. When I went to a major state university as an undergraduate, there were actually 1,500 psychology majors in the entering freshman class. And so when I took Psychology 101, Dr. Ogilvy is also a psychologist. He may have had similar experiences. What we had is our first class was 500 students in an auditorium. We had a 50-minute lecture. After that 50-minute lecture, we all got up, we moved out. The next 500 came in, they sat down, they did their 50 minutes, they got up, they moved out, and then the next 500 came in. And it was a good education, but it's nothing like what you're going to be able to experience here. And we also have a wonderful full-time faculty. Our faculty are very accomplished academically, very accomplished professionally, and your classes are taught by full-time faculty members, not by graduate assistants. Graduate assistants may help you with tutoring, but they won't be teaching the classes. So it makes it a really nice experience, and I say that's why we're kind of in that sweet spot. People really grow and develop very nicely here. Now, in terms of majors, and we'll talk a little bit about it, like most business schools, we have some standard majors, and these are really important, and you can choose from them. And some people will double major here in the Barney School, but you should also know you can major here in the Barney School, and you can also major in another college, or major in the Barney School and minor in another college. You've got a lot of opportunities here at the university that work together. But I did want to give you just a little bit of a feeling for some of the work that goes on in our 6 major disciplines and some of our faculty. And I want to begin first with the area of accounting. Accounting is, right now, it's our largest major. And so I'd like to turn to a wonderful colleague, Dr. Don Warren, who joined us a couple of years ago. And he was in such demand, I actually heavily recruited him for 2 years before we could finally convince him to join us. He was a former partner of PricewaterhouseCoopers, if familiar with the accounting world, one of the big 4, a tremendous accomplished professional. And Don's going to talk a little bit about his background and also what happens in the undergraduate accounting program. So Don has also a mic, and I'm going to be turning my mic off, I hope. There.
Thank you, Dean. And good morning. One of the points that the Dean mentioned, which I think is very important, is the fact that the faculty comes with practical business experience. And I'll talk a little bit about mine. I remember when I was sitting in the chair where you are and trying to figure out what I wanted to major in. And my mother worked at a bank. And so I went to the bank and asked them. They said, and the bank president said, accounting. And I didn't know what accounting was about, and so I entered that degree program. I got the degree and went into governmental worked in Washington, D.C., and then after working in Washington, I decided I wanted to try the private sector, and I went to work for PricewaterhouseCoopers. and it was an outstanding career. I enjoyed it immensely, and when I retired, and you have to retire when in public accounting when you hit 60, so you have to go find another job. And so I wanted to share my knowledge with students because I feel it's very important to have that knowledge transfer so a student can understand what the accounting field is all about. Because when I went to school, all of my professors did not have practical experience. Matter of fact, none of them did. And I find by talking about what happens in your career, you can really understand it better as a student. It's really part of what I refer to as a well-rounded education. So I spent my 31 years with PricewaterhouseCoopers, and then when I retired, instead of just retiring, I decided to go back to school myself, and that's when I got a PhD from Texas A&M, and then I spent 5 years at Rutgers in New Jersey, and now this is my second year. And one of the benefits I find at the University of Hartford is something that the dean referred to as the size of the class. When I was at Rutgers, my average class was a minimum of 50 students in accounting. And a lot of times it was 60 students. And it's hard to get to know your students when you have that many. Whereas at Hartford, at the University of Hartford, I know my students. And if one of them's having a hard time, I call them into my office. Matter of fact, last semester I had a student that I asked him to come in every Tuesday and Thursday, and we spent about an hour together going over the program because he did not do well on his first exam, and he ended up making a B+ in the class. And that says something because he was able to put the effort in when he knew he did not do well. So that's one of the things you really get personal attention. So enough about that. Let's talk a little bit about the accounting program. Accounting underlies the business community, and when management is measured on their performance, it's based on accounting information. And so, as you might suspect, whether it's in a good economy or a bad economy, accountants are in demand. And even last year, when they were talking about how bad the economy it was, our accounting majors were in demand. And so therefore, it's a degree and a program that is really beneficial from a career perspective. Now, you say one of the things you can do in accounting is you can migrate into a finance or management position after you spend some years in the accounting profession. And a lot of my colleagues in PricewaterhouseCoopers would do that. But the program here is, I think, one of the better programs. I look at it, it's comparable to Rutgers. It's one where you do get individual attention. The coursework is comparable no matter where you go to school as far as accounting. You're going to get basically Introduction to Financial Accounting, you're going to get Intermediate Accounting, you get Cost Accounting, you get Auditing, Advanced Accounting. And so wherever you go, you're going to have that type of a program, because what happens, you want to try to focus on becoming a certified public accountant. And so those are the basic courses that you would take. Now, another aspect of our program, which I think is great, is the fact that we do have a graduate program in accounting, and we have a Master's of Science in Accounting and Taxation. And that is kind of unique because most schools don't necessarily have a taxation side of the Master's of Science. It's usually Master's of Science in Accounting. And Dr. Carl Smith runs that program. And again, it's one where you have small classes and you have good interaction with your professors. So if you decide on accounting, I would encourage you to come to the University of Hartford, because again, I think the size of the class, the fact that your professors have practical experience, will bring value to your education. Thank you, Dean.
Yeah, also appreciate it. And again, part of what we're doing this year is a special feature for each of our majors is what we've called a Global Awareness Series. And so for every major, we're having an international either class or an international presentation. And Don has just completed the first of those, which is going to be posted on our website. There'll be 5 or 6 of those by the end of the year, about the evolution of international accounting standards. And to do that, he brought Dr. Paul Pachter, who is at the International Accounting Standards Board in London, for a presentation. He came in from London via satellite, had a wonderful presentation, and that will be available for you as well. The next, I'd like to turn to Dr. Susan Coleman, and she's in the Department of Economics, Finance, and Insurance. And in that department, they have 2 different majors. One is economics finance, and one is insurance finance. Dr. Coleman has an absolutely wonderful background professionally. Most recently, she's been working with the Governor's Council of Economic Advisors and taking trips to China and building those kinds of relationships. So I'll just turn it over to Susan to share a little bit about herself and those majors.
Thank you, Dean. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the University of Hartford on this beautiful fall day. It's really a pleasure for me to be here with you and to be here with Don and John. They're both wonderful colleagues and wonderful faculty members. I'm a professor of finance in the Department of Economics, Finance, Insurance, and Actuarial Studies. As the Dean mentioned, we have 2 majors in that department: insurance finance and economics finance. Insurance finance, as you may know, Hartford is one of the major insurance companies Hartford is one of the major insurance regions in the United States. And in the city of Hartford, we have a number of insurance companies. A lot of our students who major in insurance finance go on to leadership positions in those major insurance companies, and they rise through the ranks and do very, very well. In the area of economics and finance, many of our students go into the financial services industry. As you're aware, that industry is going through rather a turbulent time right now, and it's in the process of restructuring. In many ways, however, that's good news for you, because whenever you have a period of restructuring, you have new opportunities and new job openings for young people, and that's really the environment that you're going to be going into. Another, not major, but minor, that I did want to mention because it's very exciting is we've recently launched a new minor in actuarial studies. The actuarial science field is in tremendous demand. Actuaries, there just aren't enough actuaries. And we need those types of professionals in both insurance companies, investment firms, and pension funds. So there's tremendous, tremendous demand for people with actuarial training. And we recently have launched a minor in actuarial studies that will help to prepare students for the first couple of exams in the actuarial science field. That's a minor that's attracted a lot of attention, particularly for students who are interested in math and more quantitative kinds of areas. Now, in terms of what I do, I teach the introductory finance class that all undergraduates have to take. So in other words, I am the human shield between you and graduation. You can't possibly get that diploma until you get through me. And in fact, all 3 of the students that you're going to be hearing from are in my introductory finance class this semester, and they're all just wonderful students. I also teach entrepreneurial finance at both the undergraduate and graduate level, and that's an area that's very exciting to me because that's the area where I do my research. I'm currently in the process of writing a book on financing women-owned firms, and in fact, just this week, mailed the first draft to the publisher. So if the circles under my eyes look even bigger than usual, that's because I haven't been sleeping much. But as a part of this book, I've not only been using the theory of entrepreneurial finance, but I've also been interviewing real live women entrepreneurs about their financing strategies and the sources they've used. And those have been some remarkable stories of perseverance, courage, and success. And I've been able to share them with my students in class so that they can see this is how those principles really play out in the real world. What's most exciting for me about working on this book is what I'm finding is that women in this generation are finding a way to carve out their own territory in the world of finance and in the world of business. Some of you moms may remember the 70s when we all dressed up in little pinstripe suits and we all had the little neckties and we were all like mini men because that's what we thought we had to do to be successful. Well, women today in business are really carving out their own territory and they're carving out their own strategies. And they're finding their own ways to be successful and to achieve the goals that are important to them. And that's part of the really exciting story of finance and story of business that I'm able to share with my students in my classes. So welcome again to the university. I hope we see you all here in the fall, and we'll be most delighted to welcome you. John?
Thank you very much, Susan. And now I'd like to turn it over to Dr. John Ogilvie, and our third department is Management Marketing. Inside that department, we actually have three majors. We have Management, Marketing, and Entrepreneurial Studies. So, John?
Good morning. My prior colleagues both represent the numerical side of the Barney School. And when I kind of look at some of the majors, I can see a difference. So, you know, the accounting people like those numbers, the finance and economics people are good at that. The majors in my department are more people-oriented. And as Jim said, I have degrees in psychology and industrial psychology. So if some of you, you know, numbers don't come real easy to you, you might be drawn towards my end of the Barney School. So we have the entrepreneurial studies. So if you're interested in going out there and starting your own business, that's a great major. We have a business plan competition every semester, and all majors in entrepreneurial studies are required to develop a business plan and then to work on it and present it, and then we get evaluated. And we've had many of our students go on to state competition and national competition. So we've been very proud of our students there. Management is my particular domain within the department. I teach the principles of management course on organizational behavior. So that's the course where we introduce students to the language of management in particular, and we try to develop and give experience at teamwork. So again, like Susan had said, the three students that are with us today have either suffered through me, or Kyle's currently enrolled in there. And we do a business simulation called the Biz Cafe. So what we do to try to bring home the team and some of the management aspects is we set up teams of 3 and ask you to make decisions on a weekly basis, make 9 different decisions about how you're going to staff your coffee shop, how much you're going to pay people, how much coffee you're going to order, what kind of advertising you're going to do. And so it gives them both practice at working together on a team, because they have to make these decisions together, and applying some of the principles. In addition to that, I teach a graduate course in bargaining and negotiations, and one of my colleagues, Deb Kidder, teaches an undergraduate course on introduction to negotiations, and I always encourage people to take that as an elective. Like Susan has done a lot of research with entrepreneurial finance, there's a lot of research on females in negotiation and how women have traditionally not bargained and asked. When there's a famous book called Women Don't Ask, haven't bargained as much as men, but that is changing. You know, we're working on them. Women are becoming more effective negotiators, and in part from that course. And then the third major we have in our department is marketing. So that, you know, there are courses in marketing research. We have a course in marketing communications where the students are assigned a country and they have to develop a marketing plan that extols the virtues of that country, and then we're all invited to see that and to interact and to query the students. And so again, they get practice at presenting and developing things. There's also a marketing strategy class where the marketing students are paired with a live client, and they develop a comprehensive marketing strategy, and they present it to the client, and the client gives them feedback. So in all our majors, we encourage students, each of them has a capstone course where they are expected to get some field experience. So it's part of our career-ready focus that they study business problems, they learn about them firsthand, and then they develop plans that either can be implemented by a business person or that they could go out and implement themselves at a later point in time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, John. And we thank all of the faculty for their presentations, and you'll have an opportunity to ask the faculty questions either now or you could certainly at the end of our presentation. Now, moving forward, and again, just want to give you a little bit overview. So we have our 6 majors that you can choose from, pretty traditional. But what is also important to recognize just kind of the flow of our curriculum. The first couple of years, it's pretty much arts and sciences, and that's the reason because we're developing leaders and decision makers for an entire life. More than just that first job, we're really trying to help people to develop their career. Then you'll be taking core courses in your business area, and there's courses in each of the 6 majors that you would be accomplishing. Now, what is really different about Barney is in parallel to these discipline courses is we have a very strong career-ready focus, and this focus has received a lot of national attention. Recently we had 3 deans visited our school, and the thing that struck them most about what we were doing is to actually help people to develop for a career, not for a job. Why is that important? Again, I would go back to my own personal story. This may be for some of the moms and dads and friends in the audience. It probably happened to you. When I was growing up, my mother and father had a great dream for me. And that is that I would go to college and then I would go work for a big Fortune 500 company. I see some smiles out there already. I think some other people had the same dream. And I would go and work for this company for 35 years, and I'd wear that suit and that tie, and I'd look good every day. I would never question my boss. I would go get coffee or wherever they wanted to have me do, and after 35 years, something wonderful would happen. I see you've been there, okay. I would get a gold watch, and then I could join the alumni club of that corporation. That was their dream for me. Nothing could be better. Well, that didn't happen to me, and I worked for a lot of different organizations and a lot of things. But for our current generation of folks coming in, even more so. You're going to work in lots of different industries, lots of different jobs. And if you take a look at it in terms of thinking, we don't prepare people for a job, we prepare you for a career. And part of that is very simple in my mind. About half the folks graduating this year, in 10 years, about half of them will work in a job that does not exist today. Now, I ask you, how in the world can you prepare somebody for a job that does not exist? And I don't know how to do that, but we've been working very hard here to be able to prepare people to manage their careers, so whatever kind of jobs you encounter, or wherever your career takes you, then you'll be able to work very effectively in that area. So what we do here is, again, we take a look in terms of what we call our career-ready focus as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, senior level classes. And the freshman year is something called the world of business. Will you get any preceptors amongst us? Kevin? Okay, good. All right. Now, again, this is the first class, and you can see me here. There's the Malley Auditorium. Professor Emeritus Paul Malley gave us a wonderful gift to renovate Malley 1, Malley 2, and we have the classes by tradition over there. It's about 75 students. I always love to address the folks coming in. Fall freshmen only. If you're not a Barney freshman, you can't come in. You can't come in your sophomore, junior, senior year. It's all of our freshmen coming together. Now, we're going to talk a lot in that class about some exciting things that you're going to get involved in the world of business, but we also are going to try to help you to understand a little bit about how to make that transition successfully from high school into college. So we'll do lots of things, and there's lots of important people. We have faculty like Dr. George Generous and Dr. Lillian Kamal, but also like our Assistant Dean, Annette Rogers, who's sitting in the back, will also come, and she provides some very, very important help, as does Beth Cavalier, who is also with our Academic Standards group, and she'll provide it as well. Now, as you get into this course, you're getting very excited about things in the world of business, but we tried a couple of years, and now it's such positive feedback that we've institutionalized something called a preceptor. Now, a preceptor is kind of a fancy name for somebody who is there to help you make your transitions. Now, what we do now is we have our preceptors are all juniors and seniors from the Barney School who are there to help our freshmen make the transition. Some of these folks have had a great academic career all along. Some struggled mightily when they came here, but everything's come together. They all have about a 3.0 grade point average or higher, and we break up the group into smaller groups, and these preceptors are there to help you. And the way they function is sort of like a big brother, big sister, absolutely invaluable. And I can tell you from my own experience, I talk to my sons a lot about life and what's going to happen to them. And what happens is we got about 30 seconds, and maybe in your family, same thing. The eyes glass over, and people smiling. Okay, you've been there too, right? They drift away, and I can be talking for 15 minutes or 2 hours. They're very nice, they're very polite, and then somewhere along the line they check in. Are you feeling good now, Dad? I said, yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good too. Okay, wonderful. Very little, I think, is going on. We're just trying to bond there. But with my two sons, one's a junior in high school and one is a freshman in high school. And my oldest son is Jimmy, my youngest is Johnny. And when I see them interact, it is totally different. When Jimmy, who was the big brother, says, Johnny, come here. I'm telling you something, and you better listen. Johnny listens. It is rapt attention. Okay, so how many here are big brothers, big sisters? Any little brothers, little sisters? Okay, we're almost all, you know that dynamic. And that's what the preceptors do. And they can be very helpful to you. And it could be, and again, we've got a wonderful academic program here, but sometimes people come here and they have a wonderful first 6 weeks, and they have partied nonstop, and that is the truth. And they get to that first midterm coming up, and they say, oh my gosh, what is going to happen to me? And if I don't study, will Dr. Generous flunk me? And so you're not going to ask Dr. Generous, but you're going to ask your preceptor, like Kevin. Kevin, stand up here. Okay, Kevin's like a good big brother. You're going to say, Kevin, what's going to happen? Will he flunk me? And Kevin will tell you, yes, and he will enjoy every minute of it. Panic comes over you. What should I do? If you were at home, Mom and Dad would say, let's study. Let's remember how to study. Well, they're not here, but Kevin will say, well, why don't we start remembering how to study, okay? And Kevin will take you to a nice place, and he'll get you studying so you can pass the exam and you can kind of move over. And we've got about 6 preceptors in each class, and they're absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Kevin. So that's part of it. And also other issues that you may be interested in terms of your academic life. Freshman year, the greatest challenge you have, it's interesting, it has absolutely nothing to do with academics. If you've been admitted, you can do the coursework. Anyone want to take a wild guess about the #1 reason why people leave universities or run into trouble? What's that? Party. Okay, party is way up on that list, particularly if your roommate wants to party all night long and you might like to take a study break every now and then. The #1 reason that people run into challenges freshman year is their roommate. It's their roommate. And how do I deal with my roommate? We went with that. My daughter is now a junior in college, and we live in a nice little town on the shore in Connecticut. And so she goes off to college, and her roommate is a really nice girl from a small town in Wisconsin, John. Okay? So here's 2 really nice small town girls, okay? And the whole year, both of them, they had really big problems with their roommate. Not with who their roommate was, but that they had a roommate. Now, I think some of you may be able to relate to that because both of these young women had their own room growing up. And to have to share space with somebody else caused almost endless problems for it. Now, they worked it through. They're still good friends. But that's, again, things that people often turn to preceptors. What do? I have never had a roommate. I don't want to be. What do you do? So preceptors will help you with all kinds of transition issues. So they're wonderful. Now, you go into the sophomore year, and we've got a nice course called Exploring and Planning Career Options. In that course, for each of the majors, what we'll do is we'll invite people from around the world, some recent graduates, some mid-career people, some presidents of organizations. Some folks fly in from around the world. We had a fellow from Minneapolis. Recently had someone came in from France to talk about what does it mean to be a marketing person? What does it mean to be in the world of accounting, international accounting? And so we have all of these. Now, why this is really important is that a lot of people come, and if you're not sure what your major is, that's good. Probably about 80% of the people coming to the Barney School of Business have not decided on their major. Okay, so you're kind of undecided. And that's typical. Now, but when you go into the sophomore year, what you need to do is you've got to pick a major. Because we strongly endorse the 4-year plan here, okay? And if you've selected a major by year 14, you can change it, but if you've selected your major going into the sophomore year, then you're in good shape to graduate. If you have not, I will tell you, you are looking at the 5 or the 6-year plan or more, okay? Because of just the sequence of courses. So we try to help you there. We also help you to start building your first resume to go out and get your internship and get yourself well underway. So that's the sophomore year. And then juniors, We have a required internship, and we have, each of the departments has an internship coordinator, and Assistant Dean Annette Rogers is the overall internship coordinator. We've got great praise also from our visiting deans about that. We're one of the few schools that requires it, 200 hours anywhere in the world that you can take an internship. And this is really important because it helps you to kind of make decisions. You're kind of sophomore year, do I really have the right major or do we not? There was one student who graduated a few years ago, and you can take 2, it's a 3-credit course, you can take 2 for credit. If you got to do 3, you don't get any more credit, but it's still helping you figure out your career. So we had this really great woman who came in, and she was also part of our Barney Scholar group, so I got to know her very well. And she just did wonderfully in accounting. She gets her internship in one of the big 4 accounting firms done. Okay, and at the end of the summer, I said, you know, Leslie, how did it go? She said, well, I actually only learned one thing this summer, but it's a really important thing. I said, what is that? She said, I never want to be an accountant, particularly in a big 4 accounting firm, because their lifestyle and everything is just beyond belief. It's just not for me. I said, what are you going to do? She says, I think, and you heard a little difference, she said, I'm going to go on the far side. I'm going to go over to John's area there. I'm going to go way over to marketing, kind of think about how do I sell and how do I market and so forth and so on. So she goes over there. She gets another internship. And she comes back, and she said, geez, this was good, but it's still not right for me. So I said, what are you going to do? She said, well, I'm into my junior year, and she was now taking more than the 123 credits because she's gone to 3 majors. She goes to Susan's area. She becomes an eco finance major, okay? And she goes there, and she goes out, and she gets a wonderful internship as a financial analyst in the marketing department of General Electric. And she falls in love with it. And she comes back, she says, oh my goodness, this is me. Now, let's be fair about it. You tell me a 17-year-old who can tell you at that age, I want to become a financial analyst for General Electric, and I want to meet that person because I don't know how you could have done it. You have to experience life to kind of sort this thing out, right? So we have this opportunity, and again, for some folks it's 1 internship, and that's great. For others it's 2, and in her case it was 3. But this is where we're really helping to prepare for a career, and she's learning how to navigate wherever she goes. Wherever she goes, she knows how to move. She's making, and compliments to her, she's making the right move. It's not feeling right, I got to go someplace else, and that's great. Because our really motto here is this is not a cookie-cutter business school. This is a place where you come and define your passion and pursue your passion, and we're here to support you to make that happen. Find your dream, and we'll help you to pursue it. Okay. Now for the seniors, also, they have a real-world project. This also gives us huge competitive advantage, and I think you may be kind of pleasantly surprised or shocked at how good our graduates did last year in this really horrible economy. For every major, there is a senior level application project. Now, a lot of schools you go through, you take your courses, then you go out to interview, and they say, well, this is great, you know, you get great grades, but what have you actually done in your life? Now, you're saying that's not fair. I just graduated from college, they can't ask me that question. Well, they can ask you the question if the answer is, well, I haven't done anything, or, you know, I worked in an ice cream shop. There's nothing wrong with that. My daughter worked in an ice cream shop. They say next, because it's not fair. Our students graduating from the Barney School are dying for that question to come because they have all done a semester-long senior-level application project, depending on where they've been. If they've been in the accounting area, they may have done a major audit, they may have done a major tax issue. If they've been in the entrepreneurship area, they've done a business plan, marketing plans. And so they are dying because they can roll that out and say, it's like a portfolio. Let me tell you about my project and what I did. Or in the investment area, you're down in New York City, you're talking to an investment bank. You know, tell me an interesting stock. And you're like, what? I don't know an interesting stock. Trust me, our economics, finance majors, and insurance, they know interesting stocks and they know what has been going on, and it helps them to get jobs when they're going out and sets them on the right career path. So that's the senior year. What are we trying to do then? Just help people to improve on their basic critical thinking skills, learn how to write, think well, be good team players, and so forth and so on. Some of these internships just give a feeling, Merrill Lynch, Nordstrom, San Diego Sports Arena. And again, we bring people from around the world. One of our softball players was here a few years ago. She was from San Diego, and she was a marketing major, and her dream was, you know, I want to go home for the summer, and I'm going to be in the sports world in some way. So she went home and got a wonderful internship at the San Diego Sports Arena, and that helped to launch her career into the sports arena. It was just beautiful. You can do that. You can go anywhere in the world, okay, to do that. Federal Reserve, that's often our eco finance majors who are going to do some really good analytical work there. Deloitte Touche, great accounting firm, so forth and so on. Now, in terms of where we move as a school, as I said, we keep on getting better. We're never satisfied. A lot of continuous improvement going on. We survey every single class. If a faculty member runs into challenges, the faculty chair and myself are quickly going to work with that faculty member to try to make some improvement. It's all about development. We just don't let faculty members not have good experiences with students. And John was a chair for many years. He knows that. We quickly intervene. We also look at student satisfaction surveys. We part of this group of 168 schools, 15 factors, and for the undergraduate, for about the last 5 years, we've been in the top 15 across all of the factors, and that's great. But we're never satisfied. Always finding new ways to get better. We survey our alumni. We look for employee feedback, and on and on it goes. Now, there are also, as you can see in our mission, what we're trying to do is really to invite people who are interested in becoming leaders and decision makers to come to school. That's what we define as interesting. We don't care if you were a leader in sports, if you were the newspaper editor, you were a leader in community activity. It doesn't make a difference. Please be understanding about what I'm about to say. If you were a pure straight A student and you spent 4 years of high school in the library and you did nothing else, forgive me for saying this, you would not be interesting to us, because that is not where our graduates are going to go. There are some wonderful schools that would love to see people with that profile. That's not our profile. We want people who are out, involved in the community and doing different things. So we have a lot of opportunities. We've got a group for the Society of Accounting Students. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next slide. For insurance, entrepreneurship, American Marketing Associates, and so forth and so on. Now, a couple here that I just really want to highlight for you, Barney Scholars. If anyone's sitting out there, you've already taken your SATs, and you've scored at least 1140, right, or above, then you would be eligible to be a Barney Scholar, and you need to talk to Assistant Dean Annette Rogers before you leave. Because what happens here is that we've noticed over the last couple years, and again, part of it is time and economics, not for everybody. Most people want to go to school for 4 years. Some people would say, I'd like to graduate in 3 and move on. And they kind of come for different reasons. Sometimes it's an economic thing. Can you graduate in 3? And we've seen any number of our students, actually top students, graduate in 3 years. We had a student recently. She was not an accounting major. She was also economics finance. She was an actuarial science minor. She graduated in 3 years, and she's at Cigna's financial leadership program. She had it really to do this because it was economic reasons. We're talking to another student recently who was a really fantastic baseball player. A whole different kind of mindset, with all due apologies and appreciation for what goes on in the academic world. He wants to go pro as soon as he can. He wants to graduate in 3 years and start playing professional baseball. And so he is very interested in the Barney Scholar program. So it's a way to accelerate, but you have to have really good grades coming in. And if you do, you get a $1,000 scholarship, and for the freshman year, you can also join the Barney Leadership Council. So again, if anyone's interested in that, you can talk to Assistant Dean Annette Rogers. Now, why that's so important is our Barney Leadership Council, we've probably got about 40 or 50 of our most involved students, and they're leaders all around. They have at least 3.0 grade point average, sophomores, juniors, seniors. The Barney Scholars only come in freshman year. After that, they have to apply like everybody else to come in. And so I wanted you to learn a little bit more about the Barney Leadership Council. What do they do? We've got representatives from the council here today. And I'm going to ask Kevin to begin talking a little bit about what they do, because they do so much for us, which we really appreciate. Kevin.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Vice President of the Barney Leadership Council. My name is Kevin. I'm an accounting major. And basically, the main things that we do for the Barney Leadership Council are they really adhere to the mission of the business school to develop leaders and decision makers who are globally aware and socially responsible. As far as globally aware, I'll turn it over to Lindsay. About our... Oh, yeah.
3 members of the council have already organized themselves. So Lindsay Makowicki is also one of our student scholar athletes, and she's going to tell you about something global. Okay.
Yeah, about the Bermuda trip.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Lindsay Makowicki. I'm a junior marketing major in Barney. I also minor in management, and I have another minor in the College of Arts and Sciences called Rhetoric and Professional Writing. I'm also on the volleyball team here and a member of the Barney Leadership Council. I came in my freshman year as a Barney Scholar, which brought me to the council, and after my freshman first semester I applied to be in it, and I've loved my experience so far for several reasons. Last spring break, I had the opportunity to go with some other members of the council to Bermuda, which it sounds amazing, doesn't it? Like to go to a spring break for Bermuda and get 3 credits for it. And what we did down there, well, before we went, I didn't have really good knowledge of what insurance was, and I had no idea what reinsurance was. But by the end of the week, I knew so much about it, and we ended up writing a 20-page paper about all that I learned down there. We met with different companies. We met with ACE Insurance. We learned so much firsthand from people who were living, breathing, working insurance, and we just learned everything about Bermuda too. So just part of being globally aware, I learned about the market in Bermuda and just different things, the reason why there's so many insurance companies in Bermuda, and just learned so much. A wealth of knowledge that you can't always get in a classroom because you need to have that first-hand experience to really have it sink in. So I recommend that trip to everyone. I think your sophomore year is the first year you can go on that trip, and so I wish I could go back again this spring break, but it was a once-in-a-lifetime trip, and I would only have the opportunity through the council, so yeah.
And with our other part of the Barney Leadership Council, social responsibility, I'm going to turn it over to Kyle about our different fundraisers and philanthropies that we do.
Hello everyone, I'm Kyle Schoffelmeyer. I'm a junior here, an accounting major. So some of the things that we do in the Barney Leadership Council for fundraising, which corresponds with our mission of being socially responsible, we do 3 major fundraisers. In the beginning of this semester we did just a candy drive for October, Halloween. So I took part with a few other students in setting up tables right in front of the Barney Leadership, right in front of the Barney School. So students coming in and leaving classes, we asked them, would you like to donate? Also, we require that all the Barney Council members take at least 10 bags and go and sell, and there's many people that took more than that. So so that's one of the fundraisers we did. We also we do a fundraiser with JDRF, which is the Juvenile Diabetes Research Fund. So last year we donated approximately $1,000 to that. So we're really proud to be able to help out with that. And we also do Make-A-Wish, and it's a kind of a new program that we started. We get stars sent to us from Make-A-Wish, and pretty much students will donate by assigning a star to their favorite professor. So we go to their door and we put the star up on the professor's door. So it's a kind of a way to get the students active with the faculty while also making it fun for everyone to participate. So it's kind of, I don't know if you guys have like a little competition or anything, see who gets the most stars, but yeah. So those are the 3 major fundraisers that we do, and it's definitely great to take part in them. You can tell that they make a big difference, and everyone's ready to participate with those. So.
Thank you, Kyle. And as far as the other things that we do, we do bring in alumni from the business school. Just last week we had the former president of the Barney Leadership Council come in to talk to us about his work experience. And that's really good as for us because he's still young. He's still young enough where we can even relate to him. We're only a couple years behind him, just like I'm only a couple years older than some of the prospective students in here. Yeah, so like I said, I was in your shoes about 3 years ago. I know what you're going through. It's kind of exciting. It also can be a little nervous. As far for me, my experience goes, I was torn between here and UConn. I was almost 100%. I thought I was going to UConn. I looked at the size, and the size for me was the big thing. I knew I wanted class sizes which were smaller, so I wasn't that number in UConn. And I also looked at in Connecticut, there's only 2 accredited AACSB schools. It's University of Hartford and UConn. So I was looking at that, looked at the size, saw I wanted more of a closer experience, closer with my professors. So I understood that, kind of wanted that more, and ended up choosing here. Do you guys want to talk about your experiences?
So one of the 2 major things that we've talked about, both the dean and the faculty here and also the students that have spoken, are the class sizes and just the size of the school. With the faculty having great experience, they're able to, as much as the decision to choose your major as yourself, they really help, with the work experience that they show you. They help you make that decision, as much as it's on your own. They're very helpful with that. I came to the school undeclared, and with the freshman and sophomore classes that you take, which are the largest classes you'll be in, there are 70 students, 70 plus, not much more than that. Firms and companies, they come in from different majors and they talk to you, and it was really helpful to understand exactly what I wanted to do. Now that I've chosen accounting, I've been able to network with actually the company that came in and showed me the accounting firm my sophomore year. I was able to sit with one of them at a lunch to go meet with them again, and then I actually was able to procure an internship with them. So I'm going to be working with them next semester, 40 hours a week, January through April. So that's going to be a great experience. It's one of the greatest experiences you can get in accounting, from what I understand, because I'll be working in the busy season of tax, and so that's going to be great. And I know it's definitely attributed to the small school. I wouldn't have been able to make that networking. I thanked them after the presentation. I was one of the few students who were able to meet with them at the lunch, at the accounting award ceremony, and I was actually chosen with the other girl that I sat with at the lunch for the internship out of 24 people. So that goes to show that networking is a great opportunity, and it's definitely here. So.
So I remember being in your shoes 3 years ago, and my brother is a senior in high school right now, so I'm watching him go through the same process. I'm a local student. I'm from Norwich, Connecticut. I went to Norwich Free Academy. And when I first applied for schools, I applied to 13 different schools. So my college search was extensive and very long, and just when I picked Hartford, it was such a relief. And I'm a student athlete, so my search was a little different. I tried to find the school where I could play my respective sport and also get a really outstanding business education. And I found that perfect marriage here. And like these guys said, like the small classes, like I had Dr. Ogilvie last year, and I'm with Dr. Coleman right now, and our relationship outside of the classroom is something that I treasure, because we were enjoyed having them as a teacher, and I see Dr. Coleman about every day this week, and just we have that friendship outside of the classroom. And just something else about the internship. Not many schools require, and even other schools within the University of Hartford don't require an internship to graduate. I had one last summer, and I'm a marketing major, so I did a sports marketing internship, and it wasn't really what I expected. So I have one in the spring with Travelers Championship, so I'm hoping that'll give me that a better experience, because they're such a prestigious company. So just opportunities like that you wouldn't necessarily get at other schools. And about picking your major, I didn't pick a major till the end of my sophomore year, and the way that Barney sets it up is great, because you get an experience of all different majors before you have to pick your major, and it's great. So if any questions, we'll be here. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And just a wonderful group, a wonderful representation of the great folks here at Barney Leadership Council. Just again, kind of putting a little bit together in terms of recognition, is that, again, we encourage everyone to come, and particularly if you're interested in what Lindsay was talking about, that trip to Bermuda, that is our way of saying thank you to the members of the Barney Leadership Council. So it's the only trip that we provide partial scholarships at this time for 10 members of the Leadership Council to go to Bermuda each year. There's also things like the Dean's List, which you can go to. Beta Alpha Psi, very, very important in the accounting profession. That we're getting our provisional chapter putting together, should be formalized very soon. Beta Gamma Sigma, that is for our juniors, top 7% of juniors, 10% of seniors, 20% of graduate students. It is the Dean's Honor Society. It's a parallel organization. Only ASCSB schools can be part of this. Why this can be such a great goal, and many times people coming in set it as a goal. At this time, there's probably 50 or 60 major organizations, IBM, DuPont, other organizations of that kind, that have Beta Gamma Sigma only recruiting programs. The only way you get in is through this opportunity, and they're all fast-track programs. So we encourage people to do that. We have things like Veru lectures. Peter Veru was the captain of our tennis team. interesting following his passion. He had two passions in his life. The first, he wanted to go down to Wall Street and become independently wealthy. By the age of 39, he was. And so he declared himself independently wealthy. He didn't have to work another day of his life, which is great. Allowed him then to do his second passion. He always wanted to play in a rock band. So he went off and got some of his friends together and put together a rock band, and they're cutting records now, which is great. He's a great supporter, so each year he goes down back to Washington, or he goes to Wall Street, or he goes to Sotheby's, all around to find his friends, and he brings them back. People doing really interesting things to kind of just give a feeling for people doing with their careers. Ellsworth dinner. There's another treat for members of the Leadership Council and Beta Gamma Sigma folks. Once in the fall and once in the spring. We just came back from our group. We have a very senior person who comes in. They come, they reflect a little bit on their life, and we have a wonderful dinner. We just had one at the Hartford Club. Last year we went to Connecticut Science Center and the Governor's Mansion, so we always try to find a nice venue. It's a wonderful chance to really get to know some people in a very nice personal way. And again, it's our way of saying thank you to all the folks who do great work in the Leadership Council. Just by way of speakers, last year for the Leadership Ellsworth dinner is Mitch Weiss. He's actually a serial entrepreneur in the financial area. What that means is he finds financial companies, he buys them, builds them, and sells them off for a substantial profit, and then he moves on to the next. He's done it 3 times, and he's getting ready for his 4th. And Steve Mulready, who was the former president of Royal-Sun Alliance, and he's had a wonderful career with Aetna. He president of this company, and now he's chairman of our board of visitors, doing some wonderful work. So we find really interesting people. Also, just to let you know, a couple other things along the way. We talked about Barney Scholars. There's something called a Star Scholar. If you're interested, academically very strong, interested in insurance, finance, actuarial studies, you could potentially qualify for a Star Scholarship. That's an extra $5,000 on top of whatever age you get. Sophomore year really kind of starts freshman year, our honors program. Into the junior year, we've got a wonderful family, the Nancy and Stanley Wells Scholarship, and that is a particular scholarship. Dr. Coleman selects that individual. It is the most distinguished junior woman, so there's a very special award for that. The APIC award is for the student during the year who does the best in operations management. We also have a Student Managed Fund Award, and a couple years ago we started a Student Managed Fund. It's done extremely well in spite of the market going down. For the last 2 years we've consistently made money. We have a global fund and a green fund, which when you're in your senior year you have an opportunity to actually come in, actually manage. That's about a $275,000 portfolio, completely run by our students. Martin Scholarship, and this is our favorite. Each year, one student who graduates from the University of Hartford gets a free boat ride to Oxford to get a master's degree. It is the highest award that you can get at the University of Hartford. We've had one Martin Scholar, and I hope today there is somebody here in this audience or someone who's watching us at some point will apply to the Barney School of Business and become our next Martin Scholar. Okay, and then there's a lot of academic prizes as well. We do also have a lot of fun here. This is put on by the Leadership Council, okay? And so each October we have a Barney Barbecue organized by the Leadership Council. We have put up all of the food here, and so members of the council cook, but it's also the faculty and the dean and the staff. We all cook for everybody, but it's a beautiful October afternoon. You don't just cook for the Barney School, you cook for the entire campus. So we just have a lot of fun with that. We also friendly competition amongst the faculty created by the Leadership Council, Chili Cook-Off. So now great competition amongst the faculty. First year, there's 12 faculty now. They take great pride in their chili, and they come in and they have a chance to taste all the various kinds of chilies. Again, organized by the Leadership Council. It's a fundraiser. It's a lot of fun. Okay. Other friendly competition, student managed course, business plan competition alluded to before. In the fall, we have our domestic business plan competition. In the spring, we have our international competition. Last year, we had 13 schools from around the world competed in our international business competition. Beta Gamma Sigma, that's our honor society. Also, a great social life here on campus, too. It's not all studies, but cultural events, particularly because we have the Hart School of Performing Arts and the Art School. There's lots of cultural activities here. Hartford is very, very rich cultural activities. Athletic events, all 18 of our teams are Division I. They're wonderful teams to watch. And we also have a very, very strong intramural team as well. For a variety of reasons, the highest percentage of student athletes come to study at the Barney School of Business. That has been a wonderful thing, and a little bit contrary to some stereotypes that many of our students at the Barney School, student athletes, are actually our best students in the university. 2 years ago, we had a student by the name of Jan Klekar, and again, kind of tells you curious ways people come here. Jan was a golfer. He went to a golf course in Prague. He's from Czechoslovakia, and he has a little pickup game, and he's into like 3 or 4 holes, and the guy next to him said, you know, you're a pretty good golfer, and Jan said, you're not bad yourself. And so the guy said, you ever think about being on a golf team for college? He said, no. He said, well, I was the captain of the University of Hartford's golf team. I can put in some calls for you. Why don't you consider it? Well, he considered it. He came here, and he was the only student that year, graduated with a 4.0 grade point average, and he was a scratch golfer. And now he graduated, and he went over to England, where he's getting another master's degree there. But just a wonderful guy, fluent in 5 languages, and who knows what Jan's going to do, but probably more characteristic of our scholar athletes than some of the other stereotypes. West Hartford Center, if people are just visiting and you don't know where to have lunch or dinner tonight, highly recommend. There's a place called Blueback Square. It's about 4 or 5 square blocks. It's just up in West Hartford, about 5 minutes away here. And I liken it to kind of a little bit of New York City Upper East Side. It's got great restaurants. It's got cinemas. It's got Crate and Barrel, all kinds of stuff that you can go up there. That's a lot of fun. We have fraternities. We have sororities, so forth and so on. Here's kind of the almost unbelievable, shockingly good statistics about our career ready. Last year, after 6 months, 88% of our students had jobs, and about a little bit overlap, 38% of our students were pursuing graduate degrees. So a lot of people who are graduating, they're also getting degrees. This is part of the accounting in particular. People graduate after 4 years, and they need to get their extra 30 hours to get the 150 hours in, so they will graduate. And I've seen it. They graduate on Sunday, they get to take off Monday. On Tuesday, they come back and they're taking summer courses in the accounting area. But that's part of the accounting profession. Okay, our hope then is that we can actually create Barney students who are engaged, enthusiastic, and motivated. Each year, I kind of have a poster person. You kind of wonder, who are these poster people? Well, we've got Michael Neaton, who was the outgoing president of the Leadership Council, left, and that's his brother, Robbie. Michael came into arts and sciences, transferred into the Barney School, had a wonderful track record here. He's now working with Aetna. And Robbie came in, and Robbie's working at CETA. He majored in acoustical engineering. They both graduated magna cum laude. Just really great guys who are going to do some wonderful things with their life. So there are our posters, okay? And moving forward, we talk about people having good careers here. Our people also go on to become leaders in many areas. Right here, Richard Booth was president of Travelers Corporation. Then he became the chairman of Hartford Steam Boiler, and now he's in the executive council for Guy Carpenter, one of the major insurance brokerage firms in the world. We also have John Swigert, who was a NASA space astronaut, and if anyone's a baseball fan, Jeff Bagwell was our best graduate so far in the baseball program, going into the Baseball Hall of Fame. So we've got lots of different people going into lots of different areas, finding a passion, following their passion as they move through life. Thank you. Any questions from anybody about anything? Okay. Yes? Yes, Kyle. That would be Kyle. You can ask any questions of...
I guess this contradicts each other a little bit, but it's all for fundraising, so that's the way to look at it.
There you go.
No, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same fundraiser.
Yeah.
It was separate, right?
Yeah.
That's true. We'll keep that in mind next time.
Okay, good point. Yeah, we're always looking for feedback. It's continuous improvement. We're always getting a little bit better. Yes, question? Okay. I'm going to defer to Assistant Dean Annette Rogers, who coordinates our internship programs overall. The question is about internships, particularly in marketing. How long do they go? Where can you go? How often can you go? A whole bunch of really important questions. Annette?
Thank you. Marketing internships, as well as any internships that we do in the school, can either be done here locally. The student finds the internship. The internship is for 200 hours. It can be done in the fall or spring or summer, so it can be done at home versus being done here during the fall or spring semester. The student finds the internship. We certainly have connections through our Career Center with potential internships and jobs, and there is a database of those. We are made aware sometimes, and we have it in the departments, of potential possibilities. And we also have those places where students have done internships before, that if a student's interested, they could certainly contact them and try to make a connection there. It is up to the student, however, to find the internship. This is going to be part of finding a job afterwards when you finish your degree. So the student does have that responsibility, and we do help in all ways that we can.
Perhaps Lindsay could say, you've got 2 marketing internships, and could you talk about your particular path to those 2 internships? This may be helpful.
So last summer I did an internship with Skyhawk Sports Camp Company, doing sports marketing with them, and I found that through one of my athletic academic advisors. So I applied for that, and it was all over the state of Connecticut, so I'm local, so I worked from home during the summer. And then for the spring, through our career services office, they're outstanding help with your resume, your cover letter, and everything. They posted a job posting for the Travelers Championship, which is a huge golf tournament internship. So I applied for that, and found out last week that I got that internship. So I will have to have a car on campus next semester to travel back and forth from here to downtown Hartford. So that's the only issue, I guess, with traveling. But this one is a paid internship. So my internship last summer wasn't paid, which is kind of a struggle because financially it's hard to be working all those hours and not making money. But it's definitely worth it for the experience. So Professor Brzulak is the head of the marketing internship, so he's really helpful with that. So if there's any questions, I can talk to you after, or excuse me, if anyone else has any questions about that. I hope that helped.
Also, just in terms of marketing, I mentioned we've got our first global awareness program is going to be coming out. Everyone will be informed when they come out on international accounting. For folks interested in marketing, we recently had another presentation by Elizabeth Park, who runs North America for Elizabeth Arden. She came to one of our Bar 211 courses, and it was just absolutely phenomenal in terms of how she was able to explain how the world of high fashion and beauty gets marketed all around the world too. So you may want to check that one out. Any other questions? Okay. I did also want to make one other acknowledgement. For all these wonderful programs, there's always someone behind the scenes that creates the opportunity for this to happen. Ron Lacombe is in the back. He is responsible for our Global Broadcast Initiative, and behind every global broadcast you'll see Ron and his entire crew, and thank you for our folks from Audiovisual as well. Really appreciate all your help for your work on this program. Any other questions for any of the students or any of our faculty? If not, then we want to thank you very much and hope you have a wonderful day, and you'll seriously consider the Barney School.